What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Best Self Blueprint. So today we are doing something very unique for the podcast. So we have Kat back.
Hi.
She is continuously one of the most popular guests. People love having her on here. People ask for her to be on here more.
Get
Um,
out.
but I want to start this by prefacing a few things. One, both of us are very much stepping out of our comfort zone for this podcast. Me, as someone who I think up until this point, I've played the role of coach and teacher on this channel where I haven't done a good enough job of portraying the truth that really what this is meant to be about is I'm just a person excited about pursuing the most extraordinary and powerful aspects of life, which I've found are progressing yourself as a human being, just looking to get as close to self mastery as possible, figuring out what lights you up most in life, and leveraging your life to do that as much as you possibly can. And in the pursuit of that, I've done a variety of things that have taught me beliefs and truths that in this channel I like to relay to all of you. So some of them are things that, yes, I do come up with on my own. Some of them are things that I'll hear from other people, from coaches, mentors, friends, and some of them are things that I discover in doing practices like this. So Kat has been gracious enough to agree to do this on camera. This is, for those of you who don't recognize what this is, it's tarot card reading, which I'll let her explain more in a second. But for all of you people who either you're tarot experts or people who don't believe in it or whatever, hold your mockery. She is not a professional tarot card reader. She's someone who very profoundly believes in what this practice does to benefit the individual, her ability to help using this avenue, and that's why she's doing it, which is why she's stepping out of her comfort zone. So don't be one of those people who like trolls online and makes fun of her, because she's not claiming to be a professional. She just enjoys doing it. So
Facts.
Kat, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
After that monologue. So if you want to
Yeah.
explain to people what tarot is, how you got into it, and then what drives you to like want to continue to do this for people.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much tarot is a way to connect to your spirit guides to help them to send you messages on what you might need to work on, what you might not know consciously, but it comes up in the readings. And a lot of the time for like regular readings, you usually sit down and then they do the cards and they tell you like what everything means, and they're like, this is what's happening in your life. This is what's going to happen. Um, for my experience, since I don't have like a ton, I still need to use the book. So you'll see me going through the book the whole time reading it. Um, I think it helps to bring definitely to the surface and like create a conversation. So instead of me just telling you something, if I feel like, yes, definitely I feel like I'm getting a message where I need to relay it to you or just kind of share my interpretation, then I will. But I'll also ask for your interpretation. So it's more of a conversation, almost like a therapy session, but again, not professional or anything, but it definitely brings to the surface things that you have been wanting to talk about more in your life. Yeah.
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 And that's something like I've talked to you about this, whether so I obviously have spiritual beliefs. I believe in a higher power, all of that. But part of the reason also I wanted to do this on camera for you, person watching, listening, viewing, is I also view this, whether or not you have spiritual beliefs, whether or not you believe in this particular practice, I think the powerful practical aspect of this is that any card that's flipped almost breaks open a new perception of what's going on in your life. So like before we started, she had me pick an intention, which I will get into in a second, and that's where this is going to get a little deep. But whatever your intention is, these cards are a soundboard for you to essentially relay what your thoughts on the matter are, how you're feeling about it, and then any insights that this might jar loose in ways of thinking that you haven't accessed before sitting down for this. So that's kind of my 2 cents for anybody who's about to watch me reveal my deepest, darkest secrets.
Yes.
All right.
But yeah, oh yeah, and you asked like how I got into it
Yep.
too. I've always been drawn to like the mystical kind of thing, and this my best friend had gotten his first deck, and you're supposed to be given your first deck. So I had been waiting in the shadows for someone to give me my first deck, and like luckily Justin did eventually. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it. And I've had so many tarot readings along the way in my life that I can't not believe in them, like in a spiritual way. Again, it's no judgment if you don't believe in the whole spiritual thing. Totally fine and awesome. But for me personally, there's been too much that has been like predicted that I can't not believe in it.
There's only so many coincidences until it's no longer a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is going to be super fun.
Agreed.
Yes.
So I will tell people my intention, and this is where I feel very vulnerable talking about this. Obviously, I'm not actually looking at you. I'm just talking to a camera, so there's kind of a filter, which is nice. But so something that I talked about so we're recording this on Thursday. So the latest Trev Talk just dropped. If you don't know what that is, go check it out. But it was talking about, are you proud of you? And for me, back in June, I competed in probably the toughest race that I've competed in ever. It was a 24-hour solo race. I did a lot of training building up to it. There was a lot of just energy, like physical, mental, emotional, spiritual energy that built up to that extreme climax of an event, with the race, with the fundraiser attached to it. And what I didn't realize is how that just like overloaded the circuits, and I wasn't ready for it. And so because of that, I've been in a slump and almost like a hypnotic lulled state for almost 2 months now. And so I ended up going to Amy, who she will inevitably be on the podcast again, probably sooner rather than later. And I just went to her and I said, I need you to essentially break me. Like, I need you to crack me open and access what part of me that when I get into a lull just drags me deeper into the mud. And she absolutely broke me. It was in a very beautiful way that really showed me what has been holding me back. So that's called shadow work. So it's when you identify parts of yourself that have been kind of lurking in the shadows of your subconscious and tripping you up in ways that seems like you'll never be able to identify it. And so you need someone who has the skill set to navigate you through that space so that you can actually heal properly and not just keep dragging yourself deeper into the mud. And eventually what we came to the realization of was there were points in my life that had significant emotional trauma that I didn't fully experience and allow myself to heal. And instead I almost like fractured off a piece of the experience that would have allowed me to heal properly, and I just locked it away in my subconscious. And the result of that was I no longer was able to love myself really or others unconditionally. It was almost an equation of respect based on action equals love. And so if myself or other people weren't acting in a way that I respected, I didn't feel that I could unconditionally love them, which inherently makes absolutely no sense. But in that process, the healing was re-immersing myself in all of these experiences so that I could heal that version of myself to allow them to leave this prison that I put them in my subconscious. And very intense work, but so all of that long story to kind of bring into the fact that here today my intention, and I guess I haven't shared this with you yet, is what is the next step in me reconnecting with finding that unconditional love for myself and for other people, so that next time I start to slip up or have a couple off days or do actions that aren't in alignment with who I am and what I believe to be my best self. Like, what will allow me to, in a healthy way, bring forth that unconditional love for myself, and when other people are acting that way, bring forth unconditional love for them, so that I don't pull myself deeper into the pit. Because I picture myself like I slip down like a muddy hill a little bit, and then like the demon version of me or the shadow version just grabs me by the ankles and like yanks harder.
Yeah.
So how do I negate that toxic habit?
Okay.
So that's kind of what I'm getting into. So you tell me, what are we doing? So we're about to get into it.
So I'm gonna have you shuffle the cards 3 times.
Okay.
And then you're gonna split it into 3 piles.
All right.
And we're gonna be using, there's a ton of different ways to do tarot, a ton of different spreads to do. I like to do the traditional Celtic cross spread. So we're gonna be picking 10 cards today. Each card is going to mean something different.
Oh, another insecurity. I shuffle like an idiot. So if any of you comment on this, luckily the microphone's hiding it pretty well. But yeah, I used to play, like when I was younger, we would play card games all the time with friends, with family. And like as I grew up, I saw everyone else getting really good at shuffling, and just my hands and I did not get along enough for me to figure it out. So really yeah, funny. All right. And then you said break it up into 3.
Yes, 3 piles. So put them like right here, and then we'll start. You're gonna start picking cards. I'm gonna tell you the meaning of each one we're gonna pick.
Okay.
And then you can pick in any pile you want and anywhere in the pile you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
this first one that you're gonna pick, this covers you and describes your immediate concerns, and you'll put it right here. And just remember, face up and face down means something different. So if you're like, this doesn't feel right, but you turn it the other way and it feels right, then go ahead and place it.
Okay. So I can pick from any
pile, anywhere, like
okay.
in the pile.
And the first one is what? Me.
This describes you and your immediate concerns.
Okay, I see the card.
Ooh.
All right.
All right, this next one is what crosses you. So it describes the obstacles facing you. And then we'll put it like this, like on top of this one. Yep, exactly. Yep.
All right.
And then this one is what crowns you and describes what is known to you objectively. Good. This is beneath you and describes the foundation of the concern or past influences affecting the situation. It can also show what is unknown about the situation. This is behind you and describes past influences. Now fading away. So this one I always like to pick because I'm like, even if it's bad, it's done.
That's true.
It doesn't matter. So you'll place it right here. And then, yeah, let's place it. Yep. Or the other way.
Yeah, that feels good. That feels right.
Alright, this is before you and describes new circumstances coming into being, so the near future. Good. Alright, right here, you're going to say, this is yourself and describes your current state of mind.
This way?
Yep, exactly. Then you'll place the next one here. This is your house and describes the circumstances surrounding the situation. So it doesn't have to be like your actual like house. It can mean whatever you consider to be home. It could be a person, thing, whatever it is. This one is what you hope for or fear, or perhaps what you both want and fear.
I see the card.
You see it?
Oh, it's the bottom card. All right. What do you want and fear?
And right here. Yep. Both want and fear, or hope or fear.
Okay.
And then this is what will come and describes your likely future outcome. And I do want to premise that you can like place those together. Yep, that's perfect. That my sister used to do tarot a little bit, and she stopped and I asked her why, and she's like, well, I want to be able to like control my future. So I just want to say, like, this isn't like set in stone, you know, like you guys are still in control. It's not like, yes, if you get like the worst card ever, it's not going to happen. It could be like a warning if you don't change things. So that's another reason I like tarot, is like it really makes you think like, do I need to start changing things so I don't end up this way? So yeah.
So do we leave these or like
we're done with those. However you want to. Yeah.
All right.
Yay! Are you ready? I like Palo Santo. Palo Santo is very healing. I actually prefer the smell of it over white sage. White sage is what we were burning earlier. If you notice, the smoke was going all to you. So like usually
Yeah.
that means usually like that person needs like the most cleansing, or it could mean there's an
Ain't
air
that the
draft. That won't smoke for too long. But okay,
All right.
let's do it.
Let's get it.
This covers you and describes your immediate concerns. Okay, so we have the Four of Pentacles. Pentacles usually means like possessions or money. So it is actually reversed. You may be trying to make something happen prematurely, or you are holding on too tightly to current situation or circumstances. Perhaps you are quarreling with someone over money, such as in a divorce proceeding. You need to loosen up and have more trust in the universe to provide. So this is actually really funny because it just reminds me of our reading before, where it's like, trust the universe.
Yeah.
Can you just like chill?
Yeah.
So from what I'm getting is like, you keep trying to like do more, and like figure out how you can get out of like your funk and stuff, when really you just need to like kind of just sit back, because you've been in such masculine energy for so long. I feel like with you do like masculine energy is like doing things, feminine energy is like bringing in and like sitting back and absorbing. So I think I think that's more of my interpretation.
Yeah, for me, I mean, every reading, everything I do always goes back to trust the universe. And like that is something that's always a balance that I try to find in my life, is the things that are within my control, I do like to control. But it's learning that that is not necessarily about anything outside of me. So like, and I guess that could be where this whole sticky point comes, is for so long I put a lot of pressure, not necessarily pressure on myself to always like perform crazy well, but at least to show up in the best light. And it's acknowledging, at least kind of combining what like I learned from Amy and what I'm bringing into this, is sometimes it's not about always trying to fix it. It's just about like sitting with it and not trying to force stuff, but just be present with it, even if it's not ideal.
Yeah.
Instead of always trying to fix it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think exactly what you did a few days ago, where you said you, instead of like going out and doing stuff, you literally just like for 36 hours meditated and took care of yourself in that way, and just like kind of sat back and relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I got out of my funk too, which
That's cool.
So.
All right, next card. This is what crosses you. So this is the Eight of Wands, and that's, I'm trying to see the situation. So that is, for me, I think that's upside down. Okay, so Eight of Wands. Woo. Okay, reversed. Movement may be unwanted, stressful, or unpleasant, such as being transferred across the country when you'd rather stay put. Go with the flow wherever it leads. Allow yourself to be open to new experiences, but be prepared. Be aware of what you're getting into. Relationships, marriage, business, partnerships, family may suffer. You may be required to reprioritize your schedule to accommodate other people's needs. Okay, so this is what's your obstacles right now, pretty much. So movement may be unwanted, stress, or unpleasant. Go with the flow. So I think this is another thing where it's exactly like this card, where it's like go with the flow, just trust in things.
Well, the way that I see this, so it was talking about, like, right at the very end, it said something about, like, giving into or foregoing other people's needs, something.
You may be required to reprioritize your schedule to accommodate other people's needs.
So if that's what's blocking me, so this is something that someone called me on this hard, which I actually very much appreciated, which was, for a while I was coming into the gym, and I always, to me, it's a performance. Like as a coach, like you leave your stuff at the door. And I do think, for the sake of clients, that is, if you're in a funk, the best thing you can do is leave it at the door.
Yeah.
Just professionally speaking.
100%.
But someone called me and said, like, called me out on it and said, you know, usually like you do seem so light and positive. They're like, you seem fake recently.
Oh.
Like you seem like it's like fake happiness
Yeah.
almost, and like it's draining you. And it, I mean, it was so true because, and we've both talked about this multiple times, where it's like we've taken on the responsibility and the roles that we have set up in our own lives, to where it is about making sure the other person or people are happy, at peace, fulfilled, doing their best. And if that means, you know, pushing aside things that you're struggling with, then that's just what you have to do. And what this process has been showing me, and something that feels so liberating, and like it puts so much energy back, at least in my tank this past week, is not faking like the mood I'm in or the way I'm feeling or my response to things, where like I understand that at base level I'm just a curious, excited, like passionate person.
Yeah.
But inevitably there are going to be certain things that's just like I'm not as curious, passionate, like whatever. And sometimes I'm not as excited. And I think that's what I almost like branded myself as excited. And so if I wasn't acting like that, I felt like I was letting people down.
Yeah.
But that also was causing that underlying, like that shadow self to be like, why are you screwing yourself over all the time just to like put on a performance?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I think liberating myself of trying to force emotions that just aren't there, and instead trusting the universe. At least that's my perspective.
Yeah.
That's a great part about this podcast, is like people are welcome to agree, disagree, question it. But my belief is that like the things that you're provided with, and that's including emotions, are for a reason. And so if you're feeling that, it's not about trying to like tuck it in the corner. It's about like really facing it and leaning into it. And so that's kind of what I get out of that.
It's like it's the entertainment syndrome, where you feel like you have to always be the entertainer. And I think it's great to definitely like leave your emotions at the door when you come into work, because it's like you are here for your clients. Like this is their time, they're paying you for this. This is your job. But instead of like passing that's how do I say it? Instead of like faking that you're doing well, just you can be neutral. You know, you don't have to be always 100%.
Yeah.
And some a practice that would be good for you that I had a life coach help me with was when you feel like a negative emotion, or you feel, you know, whatever you're feeling, a lot of the times we don't sit down to process it, because, you know, we're always on our phone or talking with other people, getting other people's opinions. So we don't really sit with and process our emotions. But at the end of the day, even if you're like 5 minutes, just laying down or sitting, however you want to meditate, just sit with your emotion and ask your body, where are you feeling this right now? And you'll find that sometimes it travels. Like for me, I was going through stuff a few months ago, and it would travel to like my stomach, my throat, back down, and then up, and then I would really just process it and allow myself to feel it without feeling guilty about it, and then the feeling would start to go away. And it's like, yeah, you gave your body and your mind that time to be okay with your emotions.
Yeah.
And that's something that people are scared of these days. I feel they're scared of being alone with themselves and their thoughts. And so that's something that's just so healing, to be okay with yourself, your full self.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this off. Things are heating up. But no, yeah, that's something. So like when I'm in my groove, and I should say like when I'm living in alignment, I meditate usually multiple times a day. And that's something I've been doing this week a lot, is like every morning I go for a morning walk, where if I feel it, I'll listen to either like a motivational speech or like a guided meditation while I'm walking, and just kind of zone out and like do a mindful walk. And then usually with each, what I call like a shift in the day. So like in the beginning of the day, I'm either at the gym or I'm working on my businesses. And then when that's done, I'll usually like meditate and like pull myself out and just really like get present again. And I think what was missing from that is what you're talking about, which is when the storm comes, which it inevitably does. It's not always sunny unless you're in California, then it always seems to be sunny. But we're in Wisconsin, so it's definitely not. And like when that storm comes, that's when I would go straight into analytical mode of like, how do we fix it? How do we get out of it? And yes, on the external portion of it, it works.
Mm-hmm.
It served me very well, but it leaves that internal muck that never got resolved. And I think that's what I'm kind of cleansing right now.
Yeah.
Is now that I got out of it, not just letting myself forget about it, because it would be very easy for me to just let myself off the hook and be like, yeah, you know, now I'm like back in a good part of life, so let's just like forget about it.
Yeah.
But there's a reason that happened. And so like going back and really giving myself permission to immerse myself in what caused it so that it can actually heal.
Yeah.
So
once again, it's your masculine energy that you're used to with like
Yeah.
the analyzing and stuff, but you're slowly tapping more into your feminine energy.
Yeah.
And everyone has both, and we fluctuate. Sometimes we're more masculine, sometimes more feminine, whatever you identify as. So I think you just need to find that balance. That's why the yin yang tattoo is going to be very good for you as a reminder.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue. So, this is what crowns you and describes what is known to you objectively. Oh. So it's the Ten of Cups reversed. Now, I'm not sure what it means reversed, but Ten of Cups is the ultimate happy card, and from what I know, I don't think it can mean bad reversed. Oh, wait. Actually.
You're gonna die.
You might die. Delays and obstacles are standing in the way of achieving the happiness you long for. Circumstances beyond your control may be the cause, and at the moment there's nothing you can do but keep a positive attitude and hold tight while waiting for them to change, which they will. I love this card. This one's my favorite. So, pretty much exactly what we were talking about, though. You already know that you need to just like chill a little bit.
Yeah.
Chill a little bit and sorry, go ahead.
Well, so that I think is kind of the next big piece to my puzzle is figuring out what falls in the category of working hard in alignment and what falls in the category of trying to stress about and control things that I have no need to worry about. And I think sometimes it's very easy to have those lines blur where things that you feel like need to be done because you feel the ground shaking beneath you a little bit, and I feel the need to like set my feet and really ground when sometimes you just got to let the ground shake how it's going to
and go with it.
Adjust
as you need to stay upright.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So
yeah. Because like Ten of Cups, I do want to bring up what it means upright. Is an indication of everything that most people wish for: love and harmony, happy family life, true love, and compatible companionship. It's a time of completion, of reaping the rewards of what you have sown. It does not necessarily mean wealth, but symbolizes an abundant life in the true sense. So I feel like reverse, it's telling you like, hey, I know you know this is what means the most to you, and like this is what is actually important to you, but because of your current mindset and state, you can't achieve that right now.
Yeah, so this will be a good. All right, so yeah, we're just gonna air out all my dirty laundry, I guess. So in this visualization that I did with Amy, how I found these kind of fractured pieces was in the visualization, you go up a set of stairs, and then you pick a door. Now the door that I picked was very like dark, cold, and like just scary as shit, for the lack of a better way to explain it. And when I went in there were 5 versions of me that were all basically like imprisoned there. Like they were not able to get out, and so that pain was just festering and growing inside that room. Well, 3 of the versions were from my past, but 2 were versions of me that I didn't recognize. and Amy came to the realization that 2 of them were from my future.
Oh.
And so the reason they were stuck there along the lines of love is, gotta love being single. But no, I think one of those versions of me was the version of me that finds that unconditionally loving partner.
Yeah.
And they were trapped in there because that stuff hadn't been taken care of yet. So it wouldn't have been possible for me to open up at that level until I really handled my shit in that room.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating about it is once I went face to face, one-on-one with those 3 past versions, when I looked back over, the 2 future versions were gone.
Oh.
And so that's kind of what this card is reminding me of, is the abundant versions of yourself will only manifest when you handle, like, this stuff that I'm really trying to be intentional about handling right now. This is what unlocks those abundant versions of you.
Yeah.
It's when you remove yourself from the traps that you've placed in your subconscious. And so, yeah, like that's kind of what that card reminds me of, is if there's this abundant life and there's a couple gates that you need to unlock to get through, I think that's what this in part is doing, is helping me get through the gates to that abundant version of myself without tripping myself up or going into the mud pit.
Yeah. That
So.
exists too. I think that's really important because like a lot of people get stuck in their ways being like, well, this is it. It's not going to get any better, but it's like,
Yeah.
there's more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, I didn't know it was your past or your future selves too. That's cool.
Yeah, it was. When I tell you it, yeah, that shook me for sure.
Yeah. Did you have a beard?
No,
Most
I mean,
important.
if you consider this a beard, then yeah, but otherwise no.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, so this card.
So before we continue, I guess, yeah, that's a debate her and I have. She wants me to grow out a beard.
Yes.
I think it's just because her fiance has a beard, so she's biased.
I'm big on beards.
I do not want to grow out a beard. But what do you guys think?
It's
I'm
so nice.
probably not going to do it regardless, but just let's a little thought experiment. Throw it down in the comments.
So nice and manly.
All right.
I like it. All right, this is beneath you and describes the foundation of the concern or past influences affecting the situation. It can also show what is unknown about the situation. Oh, you got a lot of reverse cards. So that's the 10 of Pentacles. Ooh. I always like to make that sound because it makes it sound like, ooh, this is mystical.
I mean, it is though, yeah.
It is, yeah. Okay. You may be so established at this point that you are stagnating. Maybe you have retired comfortably or are just sitting around watching TV. You need to activate some growth in your life to avoid boredom. Take up a hobby, start a new business, do charity work, or teach others your skills.
I feel I'm along that path.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've been kind of doing the same motions?
Yeah, so that's where that lull came in. Was it almost seemed like, so I felt very disconnected from the spiritual aspects of life, like the deeper rooted, like meaningful feeling that comes with just experience.
Yeah.
And because of that, like a lot of my creativity stagnated. A lot of, yeah, just everything. The best way that I've heard it explained is a guy named Aubrey Marcus said, when you feel alive and connected, when like a beautiful moment is happening, do you feel like you're on the inside of the moment, or do you feel like you're on the outside looking in? And for 2 months, I felt like I was on the outside looking in at like things that should have been profound or should have been beautiful or should have been just amazing in whatever facet you want to label it.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was almost like on the outside watching a movie of like what could be a really cool experience.
Yeah.
And so kind of what this is saying to me is that stagnated version, if we're just calling in like the intention that I had set for this, I think the stagnation came from those shadow versions of me were in there for so long and festering for so long that I think this was the point where they finally snapped and were like, we're just going to keep dragging you until you realize we're here. At least that's the way I see it. And so now that like I'm having that open conversation with like those versions of myself, I think they're finally kind of like loosening their grip, and those versions of me are healing, so that the present version of me can get back to like running the race.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have been then just like going through the motions?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, even with this channel, that's why I was so excited to do this. Like on the video that got released today, I was like, people, tune in on Monday, because this is getting back to what I feel leverages my creativity as a friend, like just collaborating with you, doing stuff like this, sharing it with other people, hopefully sparking their either thoughts on stuff that I'm dealing with or going through, or just pushing them to like get out of their comfort zone. And whether it's doing something like this, like doing a tarot reading or going to an energy coach, or if it's a completely different area of life, just trying something new.
Yes.
I think to me, that has finally been unlocked again, and like the joy and love for just living and sharing is finally like back in full swing.
I feel like because you're such a I don't want to say experimental, but like youthful.
I would agree with that.
Like experimental and youthful person, I feel like your childlike wonder went away for a while, and it's almost like because you had to heal your past selves who were younger, and now it's like, okay, they can play now. Like they've gone through the trauma, they've processed it. Now you can play again and just like be excited about awesome weather and like you know, just like the little things again.
Well, yeah, and one of them was me at, I can't remember the exact age. So when my parents got divorced, I was in 7th grade, so I don't know, 11, 12, something like that. And a series of components of what was going on in my life at that point caused, that was like the youngest one, at least that was in that room. Maybe there's younger versions even in other rooms, but in that room, that was the youngest one. And so I couldn't help but think a piece of me never even got to grow up. Like the piece of me that got caught in that experience and locked up, that kid has never gotten to like let loose and express himself in that way of unconditional love. And that means, to me, unconditional love almost also means unconditional vulnerability and unconditional expression of their truth. And so I'm very excited to see now that that kid is like healed and feels safe and feels loved and cared about, like now that there isn't that like emotional Heisman stiff arm in people's face, like I almost feel like a kid again, because I'm so curious to see what that piece of me does with its newfound freedom.
Yeah. More creativity for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming. I'm excited. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, pass card.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I hope it's the tower. Get it out of the way.
You died.
Oh, it was a reversed again. The Hanged Man. This is a major card. There's only 22, and there's 56 minor cards. And those are like the pentacles and the wands and stuff. But these are more like majorly crazy and hard to find in the book as well.
All right.
So this might take a second.
But this is also, so I guess this gives me time to segue. This right here is why I love doing the video. That's part of the reason why I only post this stuff on YouTube, is because of the fact that, like, for me, one of the most powerful parts of conversation is people's facial expressions, their like how their body reacts to certain statements. Obviously in this case, like, there is a lot of stuff going on the table that, like, if we were just talking, I really don't think it would have the same impact as the fact that you get to see me wave my hands around like an idiot and like see the passion on our faces and how we react to different things. So
you can see me tearing up a little bit when we were talking about your childhood self.
Yeah.
That always gets me, cause like I went through one also with Amy, and like I get it, it's hard.
Yeah,
It's so it's intense.
that rocked me.
Right, because you're like, oh my god, that little version of me has been so sad for so long, and I've been neglecting them and not knowing it.
Yeah.
It hits me. Okay, so this is your past. You were at a crossroads, but were at a standstill because you became stuck on the material plane and neglected your spiritual development. Maybe in denial about your real needs, which could be causing depression, dissatisfaction, or apathy. Yeah.
All right, that one's on point.
That's so funny. You feel that any effort will be futile. This is because you are not being true to your inner self. You may be sacrificing some part of your life unnecessarily because of a martyr complex and a refusal to make decisions. It's time to end such behavior and commit yourself to a worthwhile goal that will lead to your higher good. This may require turning your world upside down. Mm-hmm.
That one's on point. Especially like the first part of that.
Yeah.
Where it was like, yeah, you're just like, you're stuck on, yeah, that. Yes.
There's nothing more to say about that. Yeah, 100%.
No, that's so true. That perfectly summed up, and quite literally, my past up until Sunday morning, and we're recording this on Thursday.
Yeah.
Like, so not even a week, and it is insane how much of a turnaround has come from just like no longer trying to escape, because that's always been a relaying problem in my life, and I've talked about it on the podcast before, where like I did get into drugs, alcohol, things like that, and it was because, again, there was a version of me in this room that was so mad at me for doing that.
Really?
Because had I not done that, I would have been able to face these truths. And it's the same story written in a different way, where once this conditional love hammers down and says, I don't love you now because you're not doing the right things, I would escape in different ways. So that could be spending a day watching movies so that I didn't have to think about it. It could be going out with friends so that I didn't have to think about it. It was all these different activities that, on the outside looking in, fun, exciting, but in my experience looking back, a lot of these had this underlying tone of, we just need to escape.
Yeah.
We need to not look at it. We need to not acknowledge it. And so just the simple sitting with it and acknowledging it, I think, and that's something everyone can take away. Like, what are you escaping from, or shying away from, or neglecting because you know it's going to suck to look at? Like, because seriously, when I worked with Amy, I remember telling her, like, I know this is going to suck, and that's what I need. And so don't wuss out, face it head on. All right.
Yeah. That was great. And all of the three younger versions of you, what happened to them when you were done?
So one at a time. Essentially what happened was, she said, who do you need to talk to first? And as soon as she said that, the littlest dude looked at me and just started like tearing up, like not fully crying, but like in like cartoons where you just see like the single drop.
Yes, yeah.
That's kind of what it was like, and I laugh now because like it's healed and I'm good. But dude, seeing any kid sad, like pulls at you a little bit. But knowing that was me, and knowing that, so when I was in this, I essentially was my spiritual self, my higher self. So I was seeing it through the lens of that me, that higher consciousness. And this little version of me is looking at this like spiritual self and isn't really like blaming, but is just so sad and so alone and so abandoned and feels so unlovable. And so like, yeah, again, one at a time, basically face them. They would make physical contact, so the little dude put his hand on my chest, and when he did, I just felt the emotions that he felt in that experience, or whatever time frame it was. And so I would have to feel the emotion, like fully feel it, as if I was back at that point in my life, fully immersing in the emotional charge of the experience. Once I felt the emotion, then I would have to listen to them like explain to me why they were so upset and sad and mad and frustrated with me for doing that to them. So knowing that I was the causal factor in all of that pain that I just like experienced that they did. And so experienced the emotional charge, got confronted by them, and then had the conversation, and eventually through a series of like conversations and just whatever needed to be done, eventually that version of me would just like vanish. So just kind of like blip away.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the most recent one, that took a while. He did not want to leave that room. And so that one hit me probably the hardest. But yeah, so essentially like the process would happen, and then when they felt that they were ready to leave, they would just like disappear. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
They blipped in
But it
another
was
multiverse.
Yeah, it was one of those experiences where it was like you get to feel good for a fraction of a second, and then you look over and the next one's staring and you're like, fuck. Because you just like, you realize how intense that one was, and then you're like, I don't want it.
Bring
Yeah.
it. Bring it. I'm
Yes.
ready.
Yeah. So yeah,
Oh, God.
that's why I say it was intense, because it was like 3 very different sets of emotions, and the last one was like,
The boss battle.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
And I suck at video games, so yeah.
When in doubt, button mash. You're just like beep 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 beep. Oh my god. Okay. We'll move on to this card, which is the future card. And this is before you, and describes new circumstances coming into being, the near future. Queen of Wands reversed. What's up with you? What is
Pulling a 180
wrong with
today.
you? Okay. If the Queen of Wands is reversed, she can represent a powerful woman.
Wait, real quick. That reminds me of if any of you have seen the show Friends.
Oh my god, yeah.
Where Chandler is trying to quit smoking, and someone lends him like a hypnosis CD, and it's like, I am a strong and independent woman. And then he's like walking around with like the towel around his head and like wrapped around his chest, and he's like,
It's so good.
yeah. Alright, so I am Chandler Bing.
I love a good Friends reference. Okay. She can represent a powerful woman who demands control over your affairs in return for her advice, support, and or financial assistance. She wants to control social situations for her own advantage. If the queen does not represent an actual person, the reversed card can be a warning to be careful in any business deals with women.
Interesting. I have 2 meetings set up later this week. So.
Ooh, she also advises you to avoid giving offense to the socially powerful and to be aware of deception, greed, and jealousy. So my advice to you is go with your gut. As soon as you meet them, shake their hand.
Well, one of them I know, so that one I'm not worried about at all.
What?
The one that there's one that I don't know that I will be cognizant of.
Yeah, just like see how you feel around her, like the vibes and stuff.
But also, like, to me, here, can you reread that? Because there was something in there that stuck out.
Yeah. If the Queen of Wands is reversed, she can represent a powerful woman who demands control over your affairs in return for her advice, support, and or financial assistance. She wants to control social situations for her own advantage. If the Queen does not represent an actual person, the reverse card can be a warning to be careful in any business deals with women.
Okay. So to me, the thing that stands out is essentially what I get from this is the Queen of Wands is an anonymous persona as of right now who I need to be cautious of taking advantage of me. And to me, this is something that I've been very cautious of, obviously, because again, single. I've been very cautious of like not getting into a relationship with somebody who I feel like will not let me be my authentic self or try to change me or like something where they're trying to, even if take advantage isn't the most impeccable word that you could use with that. It does enough justice to like paint the picture of that was a big thing for me because of past relationships where, and this is on me, I wasn't confident enough in who I was, and I let the people I was with kind of direct me away from my authentic self.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I'm being very cautious of while I do this work is like, once I unlock unconditional love, not just be like, all right, who's ready, let's go.
I
But
love
like,
you anyway.
but really make sure that it's someone who matches and adds to my authenticity.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ooh, do you have any dates planned?
I do not, but ladies.
You need to stop saying single and say available.
I am. Well, and so what's funny about this is so weird because I'm used to like, again, feeling like the coach, and now I feel so like naked in front of the camera. So for the longest time, I was telling people I'm finally ready to date now. Like, because you remember I had a date set up, and that was a few months ago now, and I've been available. No, I've been single for 5 years ish, something like that, and it was really only in the last maybe like 6-ish months where I started telling people like, all right, I think I'm ready to start dating, because I was so focused on making sure that I was a whole individual and like not an individual filled with holes in my character and my sense of self. But what's funny is like, I don't think I meant it until I said it like 2 days ago with my roommate. We were going for a walk, and there's a spot on a hill where we can sit and like just bro out.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm like, it's for those of you who have never eaten an edible, maybe don't do it, but like, so when you eat one, there's like it usually takes a while to like kick in, like the effect of the marijuana, and like you keep kind of thinking like, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, is that it? And so like that's kind of what I equated it to, was like I kept thinking like, oh, I think it's hitting me, I think I'm ready. But when it actually hits you, like it's undeniable, like you're marijuana, like. And so like that's kind of the point I'm at now, where like in a much healthier version of life, like it is so undeniable. Like now I know where I stand, who I am, where I'm at, through the lens of love, I guess, or like unconditional love in particular.
Yeah.
And so now I can say like I am available. So
P.S.
Spread the word. This is why we share these videos.
This is actually why it's just your dating channel.
This is just my Tinder.
That'd be so smart. Oh my god. Okay, so this is yourself and describes your current state of mind. Judgment reversed. Another major and another reverse card. You've had all reverse cards, right? Oh my god.
Yeah.
This has never happened before. Your world is upside down.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. If you get the Wheel of Fortune and it's your last card and it's like upright, I'm gonna just throw this huge table.
If you guess that, I'm gonna freak out.
I will be so excited. Okay. This is a bit harder to find. Entertain our viewers. I'm just kidding. I got it.
Oh. I was gonna say, I've always got a tangent ready to go. So.
I love that. Okay. Interior biological and psychological factors are at work, and you have little or no control over them. You may be thinking about making some changes which are being signaled by these inner timing mechanisms. This process may be throwing you into a state of confusion as you aren't sure how to handle what's happening. Nonetheless, you are facing a new phase in your life and must make your peace with it. Emotionally, you may be called upon to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Judgment reverse can also indicate frustrating delays or postponements, a materialistic view of life, refusal to take charge, possible loss or separation, and the need to cope with these life changes. That's you right now.
Yeah.
That is you.
So I will say, like this continues to, like you were talking about, when you do this, I have a particularly weird relationship with tarot because of the fact where I'm like, my logical brain is like, there's no possible way that this works.
And then you come to me a few weeks later and you're like, that card made
But
all of a sudden.
yeah, but then like it's like this is our third time doing this.
Yeah.
And every time, the reason I'm much more calm now is because I've freaked out so many times she's flipped cards.
Yeah.
That now I'm like just accepting of it. But it is crazy to me that, and again, this could be the soundboard theory that I have, or it could be the spiritual theory that I have, or a mix.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, just what this does to allow you to like sit with where you're at in terms of the intention you bring to it is so cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's my little side note.
No,
but
I love it.
yeah,
I do want to add in this little interpretation as well. It represents the end of something, an old way of life, a cycle that is finished. So
that hits.
Yeah.
That's
super cool.
That hits. That really is what this feels like. Is what's so like comical to me almost about this is, to the outside world, nothing's really going to change.
Right.
Like I'm still going to be doing everything I was doing throughout those 2 months of like purgatory, but internally, like the lens through which I'm seeing everything, like when I tell you it's like I'm a different human being.
Yeah.
It's freaking cool.
You're
like
the Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail.
I was, yeah.
And now you're rebirth.
And yeah, it's like it's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like to the point where like the past few days I've been like buzzing with energy because there was so much locked up and being wasted in that like little subconscious prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize how much it affected me until like it got out, and now I'm just like, woo!
I'm free again. It's like you put on the mask in The Mask with Jim Carrey.
Yes.
You're like,
yeah. Clark Kent ripped off his glasses, and now Superman's here.
I love it. Okay, so this is your house and describes the circumstances surrounding the situation, or whatever you consider to be your home.
Okay.
Reversed. This is ridiculous. 7 of Pentacles reversed. This is, I just can't believe that. That's insane. Okay.
It's because everything in my life is reversing now.
I know. Okay. You're experiencing disappointment or failure in some enterprise. Financial difficulties, usually the result of an unwise investment or a loan unpaid, may be causing your concern. It's a time to adjust your own attitudes toward how you use your money and look into how you yourself are responsible. So whether you think it's like monetary or not, I'm thinking not. It's just what you've been going through with like disappointment and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any financial stuff too?
I mean, when it talks about getting your house in order, so yes. I mean, this isn't very exciting, but I guess we're here, so we'll go through it. Our lease ends at the end of the year, and we're in a peculiar situation where my roommate, shout out to Andrew, is getting married next year in June. But they will not be living together until the wedding. Yeah. So he's got this weird, quirky 6-month window. Ugh. So he's debating, like, does he buy a house? And I'm not going to air out a lot of his stuff. He's got decisions to make for his housing situation, to where there's uncertainty around my housing situation come 2023.
Yeah.
So just got to figure that out. But that's one of those things where I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah. That you
like thinking about it, not worried about it.
Okay.
Is the best way to put it.
I know a roommate for you.
All right.
All right. So this next one, this is what you hope or fear, perhaps, but what you both want and fear. Oh, it's upright.
Hey.
Oh my God. Okay, 4 of Wands. I'm kind of sad it's upright.
Sorry.
How dare you not turn it? Okay. Wait. Okay, let me think. Both what you hope or fear, or what you both want and fear. Hope and fear. Okay. You are enjoying pleasure and prosperity, reaping the rewards you have earned. Your finances are in good shape, and you are in harmony with your environment and the people in it. You've shown the world who you truly are and what you can achieve. It's a time for celebration and good times. So I'm guessing this is what you want.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so the outcome of that would be what I want,
Yeah.
but what I fear is how much like shadow work I have to do to get there.
Oh.
Because that again, like, it sucks. Like
Yeah.
it's so uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Like it's not even like physical discomfort. Like physical discomfort, if you're warm, cool off. If you're if you're sore, stretch. Like there are physical discomforts. Usually you can kind of like maneuver your way out of it.
Yeah.
But emotional and psychological discomfort, like when you're the one pressing into it, like it's such a unique. Bleh.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's so tiring. When I did my shadow work with Amy, I was sicker than I've ever been for like a week and a half.
Because
It was insane. Yeah.
it's so profound, and there's so many beautiful lessons that come from it, but like you need to be ready to like go to battle
Yeah, you do.
with yourself, which is the weirdest part.
And like it's so emotional.
Mhm.
Like seeing your younger self. Oh.
So yes,
Yeah.
what I want is like what that said, or at least
Yeah.
I don't know if there's more, but like how it started is definitely the want portion of it,
Mhm.
but the fear is like we were talking about earlier, that's the destination, but there's gates in the way.
Yeah.
And me having gone through that gate, which was just intense,
Mhm.
and knowing that there's like more behind it,
Yeah.
that I will definitely face head on in the coming weeks, that's where it's like I fear what else is there, like
Yeah.
what other dragons are in the cave, kind of thing.
I guess just think of it like a tattoo. You got to go through the pain to get like the reward.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, not after you do all that, you should get a tattoo.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think you should. Okay, this is what will come and describes the likely future outcome.
Okay.
Justice. Upright. That's another major.
Upright justice.
Justice. Ooh. Everyone's like, she does that every card. I also
That's
get
all right.
excited at everything.
They're used to it. Like for anyone who actually sticks around for the duration of my videos, I've adjusted in the last maybe like 3, but this will be like the 80th video on my channel.
Oh wow.
And in almost every single one of them, I would finish by saying like, so yeah. And I didn't catch on. I didn't catch on until 2 years into filming myself doing stuff, and I just started laughing so hard when I caught the pattern.
You do that in person too when we have a conversation. You need to go. So yeah.
Yep. It's just my stamp.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's my signature.
Oh my god, I love that. Alright, so justice upright. You are concerned with external circumstances, waiting for the right time to act. You may be seeking justice in personal or business affairs, or you may be involved with a lawsuit. In any case, it is important to resolve the situation in a way that is fair to all participants. You must create a balance, not only of power, but also in terms of your emotional reactions to the situation at hand. This is a time for moderation in all things, for creating harmony and to facilitate relationships. Your judgment is good at this time, and you are not swayed by personal considerations or bias. Justice may describe a matter in which some sort of rectification is necessary, where wrongs must be righted in a spiritual or personal sense, regardless of whether any laws have been broken. This is a card of karma and suggests you are reaping what you have sown. So I think like the more work that you do with the shadow work, the more you're gonna get out of it. Where it's like you'll heal.
Well, and I think that's so true. Like the rectification of wrongs or whatever it said in the spiritual sense was that I locked up versions of myself for so long.
Yeah.
And so the justice in this situation is allowing them to say their piece to me and like just take the blow so that justice is served to me from me, and every version of myself, past, present, future, is able to move forward in a very healed, healthy manner.
Yeah.
So
justice
So,
is
yeah.
served. Warns you to receive guidance from your inner self, not to rely solely on human advisors. So I just definitely recommend continuing with your meditations and maybe go without a podcast for a walk soon.
Yeah.
I think you just need to be with you.
Yeah. So I usually do that later in the day. So the morning I try to like prime myself, and then at the end of the day is when I'll like unplug, and that's where I was talking about sitting at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
That's where I really allow myself to just sit.
Yeah.
Not try to do anything, not try to be anything, just sit and reflect. And yeah, I think getting back to, like you was talking about, like in moderation, to me that just means like getting back to my consistent habits that I know answer my big questions of like what's going to allow me to feel fulfilled in life, and just get consistent with each of those so I'm not like neglecting any one thing and I'm not overindulging on any one thing.
Yeah.
So one thing that I always find fascinating, so it was like once you close the book and like we kind of wrapped up talking about that one, I started like feeling that like little bit of like buzzing of energy.
Yeah.
And that to me is what like it shuts up the logical analytical part of my brain that like every time we sit down and do this I question like,
is this real?
they're freaking cards.
You're
like
right.
they're but like it's just like people who believe in a higher power, right? Like it is something you just feel. Like you can't necessarily logic your way into it.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I think that's why there's such powerful rewards to this, is because it requires faith.
Yeah.
Like there is no like seeing is believing. It's you have to believe and you have to buy into the process. And the reward is that you get these insights. Like for me, especially because this is recorded now, I get to look back and like analyze and go over different parts of this, because I'm me and I'll probably forget half of this by the time we leave. But
we could take a picture and then
just, yeah, to me, that's what's so cool about it, is having this variety of avenues to allow yourself to ponder these big life questions and go deep on them. And I think that what's so cool about it is like that buzzing feeling is from, I think, my body's understanding of truth being told.
That's how your body says like yes. I think for me I get headaches like
that's so unfortunate.
I know. Well, it doesn't last.
Oh,
like
gotcha.
So if I like want to know if it's like a yes or no thing, or like go with my gut, I'll like think about it, and if I get this like pain in my head, it's a yes, but then it goes away. You know, it's pretty cool. So maybe that's your body's way of saying yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So yeah. But if you think about it, it's like this is such a beautiful way to, if you do believe in the spiritual way, to connect with your guides, because they can actually like physically give you help and guidance. You know, this is their way to be able to communicate with you in a more solid way, because like I'm like, you know, they try to communicate with us through numbers and dreams and all that, and a lot of the time we're like, yo, okay, like whatever, but this is like a solid foundation for them to be like, oh, thank God, I've been trying to contact you, but you've been on TikTok all day. Yeah.
So as we wrap this up, one kind of question, it's got two parts to it that I'm very curious for you as someone, because again, you've helped me through this 3 times. You've helped plenty of other people through this process. What's the biggest lesson you've learned for yourself in doing this for so many people?
Oh yeah.
And what's what's the most profound lesson you see someone learn that you then applied to your life?
Oh, okay.
So we'll start with you, like
Yeah.
you doing this service for other people.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, based on like what the person's going through and what they bring to the table,
Yeah.
you have to be very careful of how you absorb that energy, how you dispose of that energy, because energy is transferred in this process.
For sure.
So, like, whether it's the energy, whether it's like just something you've learned in the study of these things, what is your biggest takeaway from being the person in charge of the situation, I guess?
Definitely learning how to block off other people's energy and cleanse. That's why I do the white sage before and after. And then I'll wash my hands, like, if you feel my hands are like super cold. I mean, they're cold a lot, but like they haven't been lately, so this is like, ooh. There have been a few readings that have just been like so draining, and I was telling you about one of our friends, and it knocked me out for 4 days, and I was just so tired. And like we had to do like a work event here, and I'm like, it was the balance course that I had to like, and I was so out of it. My balance was off, everything was off. I was so sad, but that person was so free and happy, and I felt so good about that. But on the same side, I'm like, I'm dead.
You just took on all of that. That's why,
all. And so, yeah, that's why I also have like my black moonstone with me in my lap. It's just like learning how to protect my energy, which is like transferred to other parts of my life. Because there are times where I have to, like, hang out with a group of people that I get drained by, and it's learning to shut that off and just like keep my own energy. But like I think a lot of the time, this day and age, it's really hard because people say like, well, I have to protect my energy, like I can't do this or this or this, or I have to cancel plans with my friends. It's like, well, it doesn't mean you have to be a bad friend, like if you feel like you have to protect your energy, then don't make the plans in the first place, but don't, like constantly neglect friendship and being there for other people. I think we've really gone too introverted, where we need community, like, so yeah, I went a little bit off that, but that's something I'm just like so passionate about, because I hear just so many people saying they have to protect their energy. It's like you have to learn practices to do that, so you can go and live life and be with other people.
Well, and the other thing too is, like, I guess my thing from that, because I've experienced this, is if you often feel the need to protect your energy, what are you doing that you always need to protect your energy? Like, you need to change. Like, if it's the people you're with and you always feel the need to protect your energy from social events, well, find people who you can socialize with that you don't need to protect your energy from. That's why I think me, you, Justin, and the couple people we hang out with, it works because there is no need to put up a wall. There is no need to try to protect anything. There's just a very open, integrated synergy that happens. And I think when people can find that tribe, it's just game over.
And just be their complete selves. Because even when there was a few months ago when I was going through a really dark time, you were like, hey, how are you? And I was like, not good. And like I was like actually open about that. And I'm not with so many people.
I know.
So like to say that, it was almost like a relief. And it opens a conversation, and to see like who your tribe is. Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think it's so important in what you said, like you need to find the people who don't drain you. Like if they drain you, like there's a reason. And like maybe you do need to like stop hanging out with them for a little bit,
or just set boundaries, like certain parameters where you hang out with them
for a certain amount of
with time limits, or like every X number of days, weeks, months, years, whatever. I like that. Protect your energy, but understand why you feel the need to protect it.
And also still be like a good friend and a good, like, it could be like daughter or son or whatever,
human.
Like human. That's it. Just be a good human.
Be
and
good.
Like, be good. Be good. Be kind.
Okay, so that's the most, I guess, profound or important lesson you've learned for you from this practice. Sitting across from people, obviously don't like throw anyone under the bus and be like, this person went through this thing and it looked awful. But like coming from a place of anonymity, like from all the people you sat down with, all of the things you've seen them go through, all of the lessons they've learned in this process, what was the one that hit you the hardest, or that you immediately were like, yes, I need to adopt that as well?
Oh, there was someone that got the 10 of cups that represented themselves, and that um it got me because they were so sad, and but I knew deep down inside they're just this amazing, bubbly, wonderful person who was meant to be on this planet to share that. And they because of the traumas that they've been through, they've forgotten it, and they wouldn't allow themselves to be that person that they truly are. And so seeing that, it really just reminded me that we have the ability to just create our identities. And if we're in the slumps and stuff, we can create us being a sad person or an anxious person. But if we just sit back and realize, wait, this isn't who I am, I can actually be this person I want to be, then then we can be,
Yeah.
and it set that person free. That's I think that's the biggest thing, is that they realize oh yeah, I am the 10 of cups, I am this super happily awesome person. And then they were on cloud 9 for weeks after that. And all it was looking at this card and realizing yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
So it's so fascinating how it can be a light switch. It really can. Depending on how much meaning you put into something and how much power you put into something. Our minds are so powerful.
Oh, it's unreal.
Yeah. We can give ourselves sickness. We can take it away. I had allergies before. I don't have them now because last year I'm I don't want them anymore. And I haven't had allergies. And I used to spring allergies, cat allergies. It was insane. And then I read this book, Becoming Supernatural, and they were talking about how you can.
That's one of the next books I want to get into.
Oh, it's really good. It's really good. So, yeah, it's just amazing how powerful our minds are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh. We'll start to wrap up, but
pick a crystal, whichever. You can hold it. You can whatever you want.
So if I was just going off of looks, I'm gonna be honest. This one is the coolest.
Okay.
But for some reason, I kept staring at this one throughout.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna go with this one.
Okay, that's an angel aura quartz.
Ah.
Yeah. So I believe that's connecting to your guides.
So if anyone wants to see it, it's very clear. It almost looks like a crystal ball. That's.
And it has rainbow effects in it. That's created by heat. So I'll read that if that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is it? No, meaning. Exceptionally high vibration crystal that exudes positivity and light. The meaning behind this ethereal stone is purity, joy, peace, and clarity. Anyone who lays eyes upon it can immediately sense the elation that it brings, making it the perfect stone for people who struggle with low energy or depression. Its mission on Earth is to raise vibrations and spread bliss wherever it goes. Uplift energy, instill a sense of immaculate happiness and goodness for every person it encounters. I think it'd be good for you to bring this into your shadow work. Just hold it. Yeah. Agreed. I think that.
Just put it in my mouth.
Yeah. And you'll be like, what is that? Able to soothe emotional or spiritual distress. Can support you by lifting your vibrations, sending you a peace of mind. Can also help you to think more clearly and can unlock the potential for love to guide you for decisions.
All right.
I think that's really good for what you need.
I dig it. All right, so I've got 2 questions to wrap up.
Yeah.
The first one, I'm going to have you, so my question is for you to create a question.
Okay.
So for anyone listening, I always like to put a couple hard-hitting things at the end to reward people who have made it through.
Yeah, good job.
So what is your favorite question to ask people to really make them think about themselves and their life?
And
then you'll hear mine because it's the next question.
How do you bring yourself peace? because a lot of people will struggle with that, and then like that they don't take time to take care of themselves, and they don't have like practices, and I feel like it really just shows where they are in their life and their journey.
I like that one.
Yeah.
So that is for all of you. So like that's question one. What do you do to find peace?
Yeah. How do you find
How do you find peace?
Yeah.
Now my question for you, and I'm gonna ask everybody this. Usually I direct it right at the person, but this whole thing is unorthodox. So we're gonna roll with it.
This is great.
So to everyone listening who's made it this far, first of all, thank you. Much appreciated. Again, the reason for this was I want to show you all that I don't feel like I know it all. I don't feel like I'm above anybody. I just know that I have an extreme hunger and curiosity for life, for the pursuit of self-mastery, for learning new things when it comes to the most fundamental laws of life. And this, I'm hoping, will show you that like it's a never-ending practice, and it involves leveraging a variety of methods and people and situations. And so this is just one of those things where typically I would do this off camera, and then it would lead to me being able to talk about a couple of the gold nuggets that hit me in the face during this on camera. So thank you everybody for tuning in. But before we head out, for all of you and for you, what is the next step in you becoming your best self?
Ooh, what is the next step? Well, I'm doing a new 30-day challenge.
Yeah, so tell people, because it's on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I'm doing a new 30-day workout challenge, and it's awesome. It's in our new space, and I really just completing it.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. I'm halfway, and it's going well. But also taking care of myself along the way is going to be huge, because like I'm recovering from a shoulder injury, and I may have tweaked it a little bit yesterday.
Doing some ninja stuff?
Yep.
Happens to the best of us.
It kind of like made me think, like I kind of confirmed to myself, like I'm not going to audition for Ninja Warrior this year either, because like my shoulder's telling me something. Like if it's literally getting hurt from like a little dead hang from one arm, I'm like,
yep,
this is telling me, oh, you know what? And that reminds me, I need to complete my yoga certification. I have one more thing I need to do, and I haven't been doing it. One more thing.
There you go. Now you have, whoever listens to this is going to hold you accountable,
okay.
Including me.
So next time we are sitting down together, I'm going to have it done.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for this.
Thank
Seriously,
you.
I always appreciate.
Yes.
First of all, I appreciate you just doing this, but I know that just as this was uncomfortable for me to just like talk about, you know, my trauma and me doing visualizations where I'm talking to the kid version of myself and like laying all this stuff out there. I know very well that this for you was not the easiest thing to do on camera.
I'm like, I'm reading from a book.
But that's kind of why I wanted to do it, is to show people getting out of your comfort zone can happen in such a weird variety of ways. So I'm hoping that we model for people to express their truth in ways that may not always feel super comfortable.
And not reach for perfectionism.
What is super comfortable, this is the best transition ever, is the Best Self merch.
Wow.
So earlier I was wearing the crew neck sweatshirt. Kat's got on the women's tank top. I have on the shorts. I don't know.
Oh, those are cool.
This is Best Self wear, so we're just going to...
The emblem's cool.
So definitely pick some up. I always talk about like the Best Self squad is exactly what it sounds like. It's my goal to create a very widespread community of people who can hold each other accountable, who don't have to protect their energy around each other, who are pushing each other in a purely supportive and cheerleading way to elevate and pursue life relentlessly to make it extraordinary and to help others do the same thing. So if you see people wearing the logo, you know they're part of the Best Self squad. So pick some up. Kat, thank you again.
Thank you.
Everybody,
thank you, so
for listening. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.
So, yeah.
Peace!